Hello and good evening, Hawks and Hawk families. This is Mrs. Woodmansee here, your English teacher, and I'm inviting you to join me in my classroom. Room 151 is ready for you to come on in for our back to school night presentation. Come on in. So when you enter our classroom, as you will in real life if you were to come visit us, you'll see we have our handy dandy little temperature taker, plenty of sanitizing and cleaning equipment, and our room is ready for students when we return on September 29th. We will all be joined behind these lovely brand new partitions, spread out nice and socially distant. And we have all of our lovely SV Innovates technology here to assist us. So I'm going to take a moment to just walk you through some class procedures. I'm wearing a mask right now. Obviously, if you return to campus, if you've chosen to do the hybrid learning, your student will be wearing a mask anytime they're on campus. So make sure you're stocked up on those bad boys. And I would love to just kind of give you an at-a-glance of what our school year will look like in this class. So, welcome to my classroom. These are 3 ways that you and your student can communicate with me throughout the year. Google Classroom is where your student will be getting all of their assignments and where all lessons will be delivered when we are distance learning, and also when your student is on the opposite schedule, if they are in A cohort when they are distance learning at home with the B cohort during the B cohort days, So any information that you need should be found on Google Classroom, which looks like this. Obviously you have found it or you're not watching this video. Remind.com is a website, but also an app that your student should have on their phone. You can also download it as a parent. The class code to join Remind can be found on your student's syllabus, which is in Google Classroom. I use the Remind app to communicate with students pretty much on a daily basis. It's super important for reminders and updates about class, especially when we're not all together in one place every day. Finally, you see my email down there, cheyennewoodmansee@svusd.org. Please, if you ever have any questions or concerns, or if your student does, feel free to email me. I check it every day, multiple times a day, and usually have about a 24-hour return on emails. So, moving over to our next item, I would like to kind of share with you what our year at a glance looks like in terms of curriculum. So in the first semester, we have our first unit of study, which is our short story and narrative writing unit, and that's what we are working on right now. Students are reading a myriad of short stories, studying author's craft, and they will be developing and writing their own short story, their own narrative story. For Unit 2, we'll be reading The Odyssey by Homer. It's an epic poem, has a lot of Greek mythology elements, and the writing types that we'll be focused on for that unit are argument and expository. Semester 2, we have a book club unit. Those titles are to be declared. And Unit 4, we will be reading the famous Shakespeare play, Romeo and Juliet. Probably my favorite thing we read all year. Super excited for that. So those are our 2 semesters at a glance. Obviously, there's much more to it within each unit: poetry, nonfiction, research, speaking and listening, all that good stuff. And just to reassure you, no matter which type of learning you have chosen for your student this year, your student will receive the same education. So whether they are at home for distance learning the whole semester or the whole year, or whether they are coming to school for the hybrid model, your student will be receiving the same curriculum, same lessons, so equity there depending on your choice. A few tips from me to you, especially for freshmen in my class. Tips for success. The number 1 tip for success is to communicate with me. I am kind of the hub for everything. We have a classroom aide named Mrs. Mateen, who is here to assist your students as well. But any questions and concerns can go through me. Communication is super, super important in my class. I love to help students with anything that they are struggling with, whether that is academically for my class or if you just have questions or concerns or really anything. I know that in this difficult time, we are humans first more than anything, and I want the best for your students no matter what challenges they are facing. So anytime they need anything or are just, having a hard time, please feel free to communicate with me. I would be happy to help in any way I can. I'm super understanding in that way, so rest assured, I want you to communicate with me as much as possible. Stay organized, especially with the return to hybrid learning on the 29th. Students are going to be challenged more than ever to stay organized between their online classes, their in-person classes, their schedule, when things are due, etc. And I know many teachers are using different platforms. I may suggest that your student get a hard copy planner or agenda of some kind, just to keep track of all of those things in one place, especially when they are going to be physically moving from place to place. Distance learning folks might not struggle with this as much since all your learning will be taking place online, but staying organized is so important for freshmen coming in, and it's a bit of a challenge because they are coming from the junior high level where things run just a little bit differently. Better late than never. I do accept late work in my class. For more details about my late work policy, please read through that section on my syllabus. But I do invite students to turn in work for late credit. We will have permanent due dates at the end of each unit where they can no longer turn in late work. But the biggest downfall that students make their freshman year is having lots of missing assignments. If there are red boxes in your Aries, please get on those as soon as possible. Those are missing assignments, and that is the number one thing that brings down the grades of our students. And last but not least, give 100%. I am the type of teacher that comes to school giving 100% all the time. I love my students so much. I love my job. I love our school. And I am always giving my best effort. So that is what I ask in return from our students and our families. I like to work together with you in partnership to make sure that your student is doing their best, getting their best quality education possible, and having fun and enjoying themselves as much as they can. So please encourage your student to put their very best effort into everything they do. I always ask them, are you proud of what you're turning in right now? That is how I would like you to approach work in my class, and that's what gets us improving and doing the best we can. So thank you so much for viewing our back to school night video. I hope to meet you in person someday, and I hope to see all of my students soon. Well, not everybody, but everybody as soon as I can in person back here at Laguna Hills or in distance learning on our Zoom calls and various things that we're doing together in English class. Thank you so much for your time and have a great evening.